Gil Martin of Locked On NHL here for our complete coverage of the NHL Draft. We're here with Brandon Pillar of Locked On Senators. He is our prospects expert. And Laura Saba of Locked On Canadiens. And Laura, a big surprise with the first overall pick. The Montreal Canadiens go against what everyone expected, not Shane Wright. Juraj Slafkovský, your thoughts on the pick?
Well, I knew that the more I struggled to pronounce his name, the closer we were getting to drafting him. So now I'm going to have to say this name for the next 15, 20 years. Honestly, it is a shock because all of the signs pointed to the Montreal Canadiens drafting Shane Wright. There was a lot of talk, and I don't know if that was a smokescreen because there's a lot of talk with Vinny and Martin St. Louis speaking to to Shane Wright, and they talked a lot about Shane Wright. And I wonder if that was a smokescreen. And now we don't know what they're going to do for the rest of the night. I do know they have hopes to move up. We do know that the Senators pick might be out there, or there might be a few things out there that the Canadiens are going to be, looking at. This is really, really a stunner for me. I know as well there are a lot of teams that are kind of after the New Jersey pick, and New Jersey doesn't necessarily need center. So right now, as we're talking, I'm not sure what's going on the draft floor, but there's probably a lot of chatter, a lot of confusion. I think for me, the thing that is key here is I don't want this to be a mistake in 5 years, right? I know that at this moment in time, all three players that were slated to go top three were phenomenal players with a fantastic amount of draft capital at the moment. Like I would say their stock right now is the highest it's ever going to be, right? And I think that Slafkovský in particular. See, it's happening already. I'm going to be struggling with this for the duration of his time in Montreal. He did a lot to raise his own stock in the draft, and I think he worked really hard for that. My question has always been, 5 years from now, is this going to be the best choice for Montreal? And that's what I'm not convinced of. I thought all of those players right now, any one of them would be great, would be fantastic, immediate help even. Potentially even Logan Cooley. I know a lot of people talked about how he's not ready yet. I thought they would all be great ideas for, next year, 2 years from now. But 5 years from now, when you're trying to contend, your number one center currently is Nick Suzuki, and there's not a whole lot behind him that I can see in the future, right? Like when you're talking about their window opening, that's what I'm a little bit worried about. Dynamic winger, exciting person. I'm excited about that aspect of it. He's going to be really fun to watch in Montreal. He's got a great personality. And the new organization has kind of made it clear that they want these players' personalities to shine, which is very, very different from the past. And I think that's going to be fantastic. He's going to be a fan favorite. I'm excited for him, and I'm not disappointed in that. I think I kept saying on our podcast as well, I expect it to be Shane Wright. I'm not disappointed. I'm just concerned that Shane Wright turns out to be the better choice 5, 6, 10 years from now.
Brandon, what does Slafkovský bring to the table skill-wise?
Well, certainly the Montreal Canadiens won't be disappointed with Slafkovský, I think, because he's the best power forward in this draft. Like you mentioned, Laura, he popped off internationally. He was the MVP of the Olympics. Now, different style of Olympics, but still, anytime you're an MVP of a world best tournament at a young age, that's pretty impressive. And there's a lot to like. He can score goals. He plays a good physical game. He's got a pro size frame already. And he's the type of player that I think may be pro ready earlier than a lot of other prospects in this draft. So they're getting a great player. Where I'm so shocked is, if they didn't take Shane Wright, I thought for sure they would go with Logan Cooley because, and Laura, you could probably speak to this more, but I really thought their number one need right now is finding another center to play second line center or first, wherever you want to flip it, with Nick Suzuki. And they had, they've had issues drafting a center at the top of the draft. And now this seemed like, okay, you don't have to worry. There's no stress here. You can take one of the safest picks out there, an exceptional status guy in Shane Wright, who plays a very good two-way center. He's not just a centerman that makes highlight reel plays and cheats on offense. he's someone that would really be a good 200-foot center for probably a long time. And there's a lot to like about Shane Wright. So I'm just shocked mostly that they decided to go for a winger rather than a center at all. But definitely no reason to be disappointed with Slafkovský. Excellent player.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, that's the thing, is that he is talented, and that's never been in question, right? He's talented. He's got the size, and anybody with that size who can skate that well, right? Like that's usually a hard to find combination. And I think for me, my question is, did they just see that he's the best player available and pick him, or are they drafting for need? Because a lot of us just kind of look at this and go, they need centers. You need to build from the middle out, right? And that's the question that I have. Is it maybe that they thought that there was nobody that was going to be like Slafkovský available in the next 2 or 3 drafts? I don't know. I like, that was the question that I had, is that, and for me, if you must really like the winger more, because if 2 players are equal, I would always go for the center, because the center is charged with defensive play, creating offense and all kinds of stuff. Whereas the winger's job is going to be just to create offense. That's the only concern I have, is that, are they building a well-rounded out team? Maybe what they saw was they just think this guy is literally more talented than Shane Wright.
Very possible, and we'll see how this plays out, but a surprise at the top of the draft. No question about that. Laura, thanks so much for joining us today.